Okay. Homicide number 32 happened late last night, early this morning at 6th Street in Brazos, downtown, at approximately 12:30 in the morning. We received multiple 911 phone calls about a disturbance. There was dozens and dozens of people who were fighting in the middle of the street downtown. And while we were en route, that one also updated 2 shots fired. And when we arrived on scene, we were able to find a white female who is, as of yet, unidentified, who was deceased. She was transported to the hospital and pronounced deceased at the hospital. We have a few witnesses identified, but we know that there are several more witnesses who were there. We do know that this stemmed from some sort of a dispute between 2 different groups of hurricane evacuees, one from the Port Arthur area and one from the Belmont area. We don't know the exact cause of the dispute or what started it. We're still investigating that. We do want to speak to all of the witnesses that were out there and saw and heard what occurred. There are numerous witnesses that are yet to be identified, so if anybody feels like they saw or heard something, even if it was after the fact or heard somebody talking about it, we want them to also reach out to the Austin Police Department Homicide Unit. Again, our number is 512-974-TIPS, and you can also reach out to Crime Stoppers and remain anonymous if they'd like to. I know there were some questions that a lot of people had about what hotels they might be staying at and whether or not it was gang related. We're still identifying all of the people involved, so it's a little early to say whether or not it was gang related. And there were numerous different hotels throughout the Austin area that the evacuees were using. So there's not one particular hotel that was really in question.
How many people did you say were involved?
In the initial argument and physical fight, it was between approximately 50 and 60. It was hard to say exactly. And then when the shot was actually fired, handguns were actually produced by both sides. One person on one side and one person on the other both had a handgun, and shots were fired at that time. And they actually didn't shoot the person they were aiming for. They shot an innocent bystander. The person who was deceased, by all intents and purposes, had nothing to do with this. She was just standing at the wrong place at the wrong time, and they shot and killed her.
Now, do we know what prompted this group to meet in that area? Because 50, 60 people at 12 o'clock in 6th Street.
What they are doing there and what caused the disturbance is still part of the investigation. We want to know the answer to that too. So again, we encourage if any witnesses know the answer to that to please come forward and let us know.
Any idea of how many shots were fired?
We have that information, but because we're still investigating it and identifying witnesses, that's one of the things that we won't release at this time.
Has anyone been arrested?
Nobody's been arrested in that case.
There was one hotel mentioned in the press release, a Driscoll. Can you confirm that at least what that name was? You said they didn't know what hotels that they were staying at.
There were numerous different hotels, and this is what the information that they gave us at the time. We haven't had a chance to verify it with the hotels yet.
So we don't know if they were actually staying there. That this just happened in front of them.
That's correct.
Okay.
The woman who was hit in that case, it's been said that she was a homeless individual, is that correct?
Mm-hmm. Yes, ma'am.
Do you know where she was hit?
We have that. We don't really release information about specific injuries or anything like that.
You said you have some witnesses. Do you have any persons of interest or suspects?
We have a lot of information that we're sorting through, and we're continuing to try to locate the people that they are naming, but we're just trying to sort through a massive amount of data, and I think that there were some people who were in really close proximity to when it happened, and we think that a lot of those witnesses actually know these people by name. Trying to identify the people who are not from the Austin area poses unique challenges, so the people who came with that group or might be familiar with them, we really do want to talk to them.
And obviously those groups aren't from here, so what efforts are you doing to make sure that you can still contact them and have those assurances that you'll be able to reach them should they need you?
The cooperative witnesses, it's really easy. They're providing us with contact information. There are some people we're having to go and track down, and we're working together with the local law enforcement agencies in Belmont and Port Arthur as well to make sure that there's somebody there that has information or anything that can assist us.
Go ahead.
Do you all plan to ramp up patrol in that area at all? Since it has been pretty active since evacuees came down here.
If we find out that there's going to be a lingering problem, I would say that would absolutely be something that we look at. I think a lot of the people are heading back home, and I don't think that it's going to be a problem.
Do you have any indication that the people involved may have already left?
Some of the people who were involved have already left. But again, there were dozens and dozens, so we're just kind of sorting through how many.
Do you guys have Halo Cam or surveillance cam video of this, and will it be released?
We're trying to identify as much surveillance cameras that we have. We do have Halo cameras in the downtown area, and we're trying to put all that stuff together as well.
Did you recover any weapons?
Specific case information like that we don't release in the first few days, sometimes weeks, we're still identifying witnesses and what they say. We want to make sure it's because they have good operational knowledge of the case, not something that they saw on TV.
We'll take one more question on this one.
Did you work with any shelters to try to identify the woman? I know you said she's yet to be identified. What are you doing to try to make sure that you find out who she is?
We have a host team who works with the homeless population here in Austin, and we're reaching out to them. Ultimately, we use fingerprints to identify somebody, so that the identification won't be a long-term problem. It's just that because she didn't have anything on her immediate person, it's just presented a little bit of a longer process for us.